Hey everyone, Art Burns here, wishing you well on this fine afternoon. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're staying safe, you're staying sane, you're washing your hands, and you're staying happy. I really hope you are. And as I've talked about here a few times, paying attention to what's happening as it's happening is one of the keys to elevating your level of happiness, that sort of baseline of happiness that we all have, and also to appreciate the things that are happening in your life, and realizing that the things that are negative in your life that might be causing you unhappiness are actually in the very, very small minority of your experiences. And we can learn this when we really start to paying attention to all of our experiences. What we realize is that both the really good experiences and the really bad experiences are in the very slim minority, that most of our experiences are very neutral. And when we can really pay attention and appreciate those neutral experiences, that's when things really start to become happier on an overall kind of sense. And again, that baseline of happiness is increased. In addition to that, something really important happens through this paying attention to our unfolding experiences as they are happening without judgment. If we can train ourselves to do this through very, very simple practices, this is very possible to train yourself through very, very simple practices. And when we can do this, when we bring attention to our experiences on an emotional, on a physical, and on a thought-based level, right? As we're experiencing the things in our lives, and we can really examine our emotions, our sensations, and our thoughts surrounding these things, as well as the sort of patterns and kind of connecting, patterns and elements of these experiences, right? What really then starts to happen, something really, really profound. We start to get in touch with our inner nature. Now, folks, I can't tell you how powerful this is, okay? Back when I was first learning how to, being trained to teach these practices that I teach, the person who certified me, right? I was like, well, if I'm going to teach mindfulness, techniques and practices and stuff, I better learn to be, more mellow. I have to change myself. I have to be able to sort of be like a calm and more solemn person, like a monk of some sort, and I didn't even bring this up with my teacher. I just this was something I felt. And he said something to me one day that just blew my mind. He said that the world needs more mindfulness teachers just like me. And I realized that he was right. I realized that, that my energy level is what it is because this is my inner nature. And when I can align myself with my inner nature, and when I don't try to change something about my inner nature, when I just bring forth my inner nature into the world, then that is going to be the most effective I can possibly be. And again, this is because it's the most present I can possibly be, right? If I am, just allowing myself to be who I am in every kind of way, right? And this takes some time. I mean, it's not something you just snap your fingers, because most of us spend our lifetimes being who we think we should be, right? We're putting up this facade in our lives, right? We're wearing a mask, if you will. And as we do that, we're paying attention more to, what people are thinking of us, what we don't want people to think of us. We're paying attention to, to what happens if somebody realizes that this isn't truly who we are. And all these thoughts come into our mind, and they make for a lot of confusion. They also create a lot of stress because, again, when we're thinking about things in the future, when we're thinking about things in the past, generally speaking, our thoughts will turn to some level of fear, right? The fear emotion will come into our thoughts and our emotions, and when that happens, that's when the stress response starts happening. And when the stress response starts to happen, we're no longer thinking clearly. We're no longer the creative, dynamic people who we really, really are. No matter what your personality is like, no matter what your education level is, no matter what your background or your ancestry or your family, history or any of that stuff, when you are yourself, you are a dynamic, amazing human being. There's no way around that. Every single one of us is. The thing that takes away from that dynamic, quality of us, and the thing that takes away from our creativity is, again, this obsession with these other thoughts that, whether it's the way that we think we're supposed to be, the way that we think the words that we're supposed to speak, the way we're supposed to feel, Now of course society in general is has a part in this, right? Like we're told we're supposed to look a certain way, we're told we're supposed to think a certain way and feel a certain way and speak a certain way, right? But when you can really get in touch with your inner nature, that's when you are at your absolute optimized best. The truly the potential and the possibilities become truly endless. And again, this all comes from the practice of simply paying attention to what is actually happening as it's happening, and doing so without judgment. And so, if you'd like to talk about this more, this is a really, really big subject here, and it's very, very important for people to understand this. And if you'd like to talk about this more, and if you'd like some practices, some very, very simple practices you can do, for a few minutes every day to get started, and really get to this point where, your happiness is increased, your stress levels are reduced, your health is improved on mental health, physical health, and emotional health. And if you want to get aligned with your inner nature to really realize your true potential, drop me a comment, send me a direct message. Let's have a little conversation, okay? It won't take much. I promise you, it won't take much to get started. It's very simple. So thanks for listening. I wish you well, and I'll be back again tomorrow with some more thoughts about stress reduction and the techniques and practices we can use to achieve it. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.